What is up? Long time no talk. Don't mind the hair. I just had a hat on. I took it off. Lots been going on. Lots been popping in CPS. But in terms of me, we're doing our first ever Q&A. So I asked people online on social media to drop their questions. Only got two, so I'm gonna go through them shortly here. So the first one was by one of my friends. Both of them were by my friends that I actually played football and wrestled with. One of them, he was just messing. He's like, "Do you know who Mr. D is?" I don't know what he's talking about, but this guy is an awesome dude. So I'll take some time to kind of talk about him for a second. He's one of those guys. So thinking back to high school, and if you're a student, you're in high school, or you're not there yet, just remember high school. There are about, I don't know, maybe a handful, maybe about a dozen people throughout the whole school that have nicknames, or they're really known for something. Like, that's the blah 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 person, that's the blah 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 person, right? And good or bad. And this is one of those guys who's known for something really good. I'm not going to really say what it is, but he's known for something really good. And when you're known for something really good, it's easy to let it get to your head. And especially things that are very, I don't know, vain, I guess. uh, he was a super humble dude, and he would crack us all up. He was one of the first dudes to teach me what hard work was. So I remember I joined football. I was on the football team freshman, sophomore, and senior year, and he, going into our senior, my actually was it my senior, my sophomore year. I remember he was a junior. Yeah, he was a junior, and we are playing. We are practicing football, so I was dropping a lot of balls, and I just remember thinking, I was doing 10 push-ups every time I dropped the ball. I was just really rusty. I hadn't practiced a lot, and then just one day it was just I dropped a lot, and I normally don't drop a lot. And I remember I was just getting mad, and I told him, like, what is this? Like, you're gonna drop one eventually, right? Like, how come you don't ever get push-ups? And he's just like, basically taught me what I know now about repetitions and stuff, and something I learned later. But he was one of the first people to tell me. He was just like, you know just worry about the next ball that comes your way, and just worry about catching that one and catch it. See, in my head, I'm thinking about like 40 footballs thrown my way, and out of those 40, I'm going to drop 6 or something. For him, it's like, it doesn't matter about 40. You just catch the next one, and that's it. You just worry about the next one. You just worry about what's on tap next. Basically, you don't think too far ahead. You can't control that. You just control the next one. Do your best, get the best rep out of it, and that's it. And another thing that kind of goes along with that funny story, we're just jogging one day. We're jogging to the fence and back, and he's this big muscular dude, right? He's like 6'3", super strong. And I don't even know what he tripped over. He tripped over his own foot, because I was right behind him. We were just jogging to the fence and back at Hubbard Field before there was a school. And we jumped, we were running, and he just tripped. He fell, and he was like, ah, and he rolled, and he stood back up. He just kept jogging like nothing happened. I was laughing so hard. But it was just funny how he played it off. He just kept going. That's just the type of guy he was back then. All of us probably do that now, or a lot of us can play things off now. We really don't care. But back in high school, we were very fragile, a lot of us. And a lot of kids are very fragile. And maybe not more than 50%, but a big number of them are. And football players are too. And they might act like they play it off, but then no, like, they actually care. But he was one of those guys who just really didn't. He was very easygoing, still is. So I just want to give him a shout. He's an awesome guy, one of my really good friends. I don't see him very often. I see him once in a while when I'm around the neighborhood, but he asked that question just joking around. But he's an awesome dude. I just want to give him a shout out. Second question I got from another guy I play football with. He's actually a little bit older. I played football with, I wrestled with, and I actually coached with. The last couple of years we coached together at the same school. He's a security guard at a school, and funny thing about being a security guard is the amount of stories that you have. Every day at practice, it was so hard to not get sucked into those things. I catch him up about the stuff that's happening at my school with me, and he's catching me up with what happened with him. And by the time we catch each other up, like, if we really took the time we would be missing practice. So we would try to catch each other up real quick, and then we would run through practice with the kids. Then after practice, we talk about what we thought about practice. Then we catch each other up again with just work stuff. So we'd be always laughing about things. But he asked me a good question. He says, "What's the craziest thing you've seen on camera so far?" So that is a really good question. So I haven't personally seen like crazy things. Obviously I've heard things, but I've seen some things. So let me just go by grade level. And ironically enough, the older kids I haven't seen a lot of. Sixth grade, I have not. The kids is just them. Usually they're face to face. Fourth grade, not too much. Second grade, but kindergarten and pre-K is when things are always like people are around, things are happening. Some of the funny ones, I wouldn't say they're crazy, but a lot of the funny ones are just usually dads walking around without their shirts, and then they'll kind of be walking. Then they'll look at you and they'll be like, and they just keep walking, but they're like 10 feet away. So it's funny. Like they're like, wait, they could hear me talking. So they, the screen's on. They're like, wait, and they look at the camera and then they see me. They're just kind of, whatever, it's my house. And they just keep walking. I find that hilarious. I've seen some of that. I've seen kids, brothers and sisters just beating each other up. Like, remember when you were small, we were beating your brothers and sisters up and we're just like, no holds barred, WWE, parents aren't home. Like, that's what's going on in the background. Like, hey, be careful. I'm trying to think. I've heard of Zoom bombing, so obviously it's like photo bombing, but I heard some Zoom bombing, some in my old school and in my school now. I don't know, it hasn't happened in my school yet, but my old school I've heard some classes, the links got out and kids came in and just started flipping people off, saying nasty things and then leaving. Yeah, so in terms of, I've seen crazy, just parents usually just, yelling at their kids. I did have a kid flip me off, but not like that. So they didn't like say like look at me angrily and just flip me off. The little student, very young, did it, but I don't think they knew what they were doing. They were kind of just doing it. So they might have seen it on TV or they might have seen, I don't know, at home. I don't know. But they just kind of did it really quick, and then the parent kind of smacked their hand, kind of. I don't think the kid didn't know what they were doing. They weren't doing it towards me. They were just kind of doing it. But I thought that was pretty funny. I know they didn't mean it. I mean, the kid does all their work and everything. He's a very good kid, but I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, okay. Stuff you don't normally see in school too much. I mean, you'll see kids maybe do it to each other, but to like that extent, it's kind of like, oh man. But thankfully, I haven't seen anything too crazy. I haven't seen anything bad yet. Thank God. I keep my eyes out because, with DCFS, the numbers are down in terms of phone calls home or phone calls to DCFS about parents and, stuff like that. So there's a lot of us teachers we're on the lookout to make sure if we see anything serious that we would report it. But no, I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen, I haven't been Zoom bombed. I have my settings set up so that doesn't really happen. But yeah, remote learning's been intense. It's been a little funny. It's been a little crazy. It's been a little stressful. The kids are stressed. You can just tell how they are. When I'm talking to them, they're just very like, this is boring. And I'm like, I know, I'm bored too. But yeah, so I only had a couple questions for that first round of Q&A. I'll be posting on my social media so often about it, so I can get more questions I want to answer about teaching, about being a teacher, about my experiences and stuff like that. But to the guys that replied and reached out, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the real ones. But to everyone else, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and I'll be updating you guys more on more things. All right, deuces.